Okay, well,
What you got for us? Something good?
I put it out there to ask where everyone's looking for some guidance on, or would move the needle the most in their business. And by an overwhelming majority, people said prospecting for listings, which I'm glad to hear because I could take the time to really teach you guys anything, but in this moment, I think the thing that's going to give you the most opportunity for business in the now is listings and finding ready, willing, and able sellers, because there's an abundance of buyers out there. I know personally, I'm not looking to get more buyers. I'll never turn down buyers, but I'm not looking to necessarily get more buyers. What I do need is to get the buyers I have homes for sale and more listings, because my most recent listings have been absolute home runs. So as long as it's a motivated seller that's willing to price it right and do what it takes to get sold, that's going to get me money in my pocket in the short term, at least until this market shifts a little bit. But I don't know when that's going to happen. No one does. I'm just going to give it one more minute. If you guys haven't already watched, or were you at when we discussed, it was a while ago, 7 types of shadow sellers, the Thursday session, rewatch that. That does spark your mind going for different people that that potentially may be out there as sellers.
Matt, that's on our YouTube.
I think so. Yes. Should be. Yes. It was on the coaching one.
Okay.
And I think you shared the link in our coaching Facebook group.
Cool. Oh, yeah. So we did. Yeah, I think I did share the link. Was on YouTube for the Denny Grimes presenting that class. And we recapped it on a Thursday, kind of talking about each of the bullet points of those 7. So that is, you can watch either or both. Megan's joining us.
Hey, sorry, I'm waiting for Wow to get here to fix my internet.
No worries. I was concerned we don't have many people on today.
Yeah, I think I literally see them pulling down the street. So we'll see how long I'm able to actually stay connected.
Okay. Well, do your best. Okay. Well, you guys showed up for me. I'm going to show up for you. Appreciate it. Today, like I said, I wanted to listen. I want to be able to pour value into you guys. That's going to be beneficial to your businesses. I mean, bottom line, we've covered a lot of different topics, and we've recorded those videos, and we're going to continue to circle around because obviously we have new people coming into the program. But the number one thing seems to be listings. How do I find listings and sellers that are motivated to sell? Because it doesn't have to necessarily be a listing. You could have a buyer and you could put together someone who's wanting to sell but doesn't want to necessarily go through the rigmarole of listing. So today I kind of put some notes in. We're just going to have open forum and dialogue and talk about these different sources of business, as well as how to get them, the scripts, the things that would be required to do. I'm going to share my screen just so I don't, because I'm only dealing with 2 screens or 1 screen right now. So I just have some notes here, and then we're going to go through. So as everyone knows, there's the typical listing opportunities, right? Starting with number 1 and number 2 on my list, FSBOs, expireds. So this is interactive, not just me talking. Has anyone prospected for FSBOs?
Yes,
For sale by owners. Andrea, yep. Carson, Andrea, tell me just a little bit about your experience thus far with those. And I'm assuming it's been probably in the past year, right?
No.
Okay.
It's been within the last 90 days.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about that. How'd you go about finding them? What was your experience? What'd you learn? What were your challenges with that?
I want to say first, like right now, I feel like I'm struggling. So my experience, I was very, very trepidatious because I at first I didn't have a script.
Mm,
And so then when I talked to some top performing agents in the office, I found the KWU University Volume 1 script book. That made me feel a bit more confident because I had something to fall back on. However, the actual conversations on the phone were totally different than what I was reading in the book. So I felt lost. I didn't really know exactly what to say. So I kind of was flying off the cuff. What I will say is what I have learned is for me, I have to have genuine conversations in order to sound confident on the phone. So one of the things that I started doing was simply asking if they would be willing to let me help them sell their house. That's basically how I started because I felt comfortable with that. And that led me to a couple of appointments. Well, however many I have on the spreadsheet in the accountability spreadsheet, and it has bolstered my confidence because I'm actually going on listing appointments and talking to people. I haven't signed a contract yet. I'm still working on that. And I got the FISBOs from the RedX application that you gave us in our coaching packet. So I've been signing on there and calling FISBOs from there. And I'm starting to get a lot more confident now because I'm starting to go to appointments and I'm starting to see where I can actually put my feet in to authentic in how I present the opportunity to work for people or
cool.
be teaching.
Nice. Well, I'm glad to hear it, Andrea. Listen, why does Carson, why does someone try to sell by owner?
They
Why?
want to save money. They don't want to pay the commission. That's the biggest reason I find.
What's another reason?
They think it's easy and they don't need an agent because they got Zillow now and they think that putting it on Zillow is the same as putting it on the MLS, and they don't understand all the intricacies of it. You know, one thing I heard from another agent that I thought was really important is, you know, it's not always about the money. And, you know, even when we're going on our presentation, you know, the big point that I usually try to drive home with a for sale by owner is that I can get them more money, you know, after all commissions are paid and everything than they could on their own. But another really big thing is just, you know, showing them you can get the job done. You know, the majority of FISBOs don't sell, and even properties listed with an agent, 2/3 of accepted offers don't make it to the closing table. And I mean, that can happen for any number of reasons. They back out, appraisal, inspection, any of those things. But, you know, it's just like setting up a company. You could go on LegalZoom and for $200-300 set up a company, but you don't know if you did everything right, if you're gonna, you know, mess yourself up on a tax liability or something like that. So, you know, a lot of times in the long run, it would pay you to, you know, however much it is, $500, $1,000 to consult with a lawyer and have them set up the company just to make sure you're covered. And a lot of times it's like that with an agent. You know, you don't know if you're missing something. A lot of for sale by owner. So I was just looking at the statistics for this. I forget the number, but I'll post it in the Facebook group. But a lot of for sale by owners end up getting sued by the buyer of the home, the ones that actually do sell, because they don't properly disclose things. A lot of for sale by owners I talk to don't even know what a seller's disclosure is, which, you know, you're supposed to have.
Yeah. So sellers are going to try to list by owner because they want to save money. In this market, they're being told basically, and we're telling them, whether you believe it or not, that they don't need an agent. How are we telling them they don't need an agent? By saying this house had 52 showings, 15 offers, sold for $100,000 over asking price. We are whether you believe it or not, you're without telling more to the story, you are telling sellers that they don't need us, right? Now, sellers don't know what they don't know, right? And that's your job as an agent, is to educate them. But quite honestly, in many circumstances, people might not need an agent. If you've got a hot property in Nova right now, I'd argue that you don't need an agent to sell it. Now, do you need an agent to navigate the waters with as little as inconvenience as possible? Yes. Do you need an agent to maximize the amount of money that you're going to get? Yes. Right. But you don't necessarily need to sell it. So I don't ever want to tell a FSBO you can't sell. Right. I want to say you're going to sell. It's just a matter of for how much and with what convenience. Right.
Mhm.
So it's an educational opportunity.
I want to
Yep.
thank you both for that because that's what I was struggling with because I've been running into FSBOs that's the question that not the question, that's the statement that they put on the table. Like, I can sell this myself. Why do I really need you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I'm pretty. No, that's not it. That's not it. No. So I'm thankful for this conversation.
Good. Well, I think the last reason that people try to sell by owner is because they had a terrible experience with their last agent. They thought that their last agent didn't do a good job, didn't know what they were doing. They paid them money for no reason, right? So it's important to understand all of those things and then to ask questions in order to kind of provide your value proposition.
So I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Right now, I mean, there's not a lot of for sale by owners, right? There just isn't. There will be. There typically is. I think that there also with the advances in technology and all these listing platforms for people to do. I've even seen sellers, hire a professional photographer to, and then upload those photos themselves. So they certainly can do it, right? So I never would tell someone they can't do it, but I would tell them what I'm going to do, in order to provide value and emphasize the fact that I know you're trying to save money, but what really you're trying to save money on the listing side, right? Because you're going to probably offer a co-op fee for an agent to bring you a buyer because as most people know, qualified buyers are working with real estate agents. Really? Okay.
Yep.
So we're not really talking about 6%. We're talking about trying to save 3%, right? Okay. Let's talk about that, right? I can typically do more than 3% by utilizing my skills in negotiation, right? And I can say that confidently, right? And imagine marketing your house, right? If you have it on Zillow, which a lot of people look at, Zillow is not everywhere, right? Zillow is a small part of the buyer pool, so doesn't it make sense to pay a little bit more commission in order to maximize the buyer pool, right? Just like if you just having a sign out front, like for your car, if you just park a car, right, and you put a sign in the front window, you're only exposing it to the people that drive by that car, as opposed to putting it on Auto Trader or something like that, right? So exposure is the number one thing that's going to maximize the amount of money that you get for your home.
Yeah.
So I just have one question.
Sure.
How do you, when you sense, because I have a feeling that even with some of the little resistance that I do get, if I just gave them more information, they would become a lot more open.
Yeah.
But how do you initially push past their resistance? By simply stating all of the things that you just got through saying?
Yeah. It's all about your scripts and, asking questions and developing a relationship. I find with the first call that you get with a FSBO, you may get an opportunity for an appointment, but you're not going to be slam dunking them, right? You're probably one of a few people that's calling them. Two things that work with FSBOs that I've found in my experience. Number one, providing a lot of value, leading with value, meaning, Mr. Seller, one of the things that I find that when I speak with for sale by owners is that they aren't aware of all the required documents. I'm happy to provide you with this copy of the seller's disclosure and the lead-based paint that you're going to need to sell your home, right? I without even agreeing to work with me, I'm happy to provide that to you because I just know it'll make your job easier, right? You send that to someone via email, guess what? They're going to be grateful, right? You're providing value, you're leading with value. Some people would say, why would I give away stuff for free? You're trying to be different. You're trying to show that it's not just about the commission. You're trying to get your foot in the door. They read that and then their head's spinning. They go, I do need an agent. This is more than I thought, right? I guarantee no other agent's going to be doing that.
I think in another class, you also mentioned spinning so like they do have it and they have 1 million showings and what you're going to take on scheduling those and whatnot so that they don't have to be inundated with 1 million calls all day.
Exactly. I'm going to ask them, how's this going so far, right? If it's got a lot of activity, great. Do you understand how to differentiate between offers? Let me tell you a story. I put together a spreadsheet. It's not just about the price, blah, 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 blah. If it's, no, I haven't had any showings. Oh, really? Well, that's interesting. The average in your market is 4 days on market, and you've been on the market for 2 weeks? Huh. Let's talk about that, right? Let's find out why. And then the second part, to wrap up FSBOs, I've told this story to a few people. I put my home for sale by owner online a few years back just to kind of see what would happen. I wanted to see, if buyers would call me. I wanted to see what agents would do. And, interestingly, it was a different market, but no buyers called me directly. But a lot of agents called me, right? And a lot of the agents and the ISAs were really terrible. Quite honestly, they didn't know their scripts. They didn't overcome objections. They were just trying to bang out the phones to get quantity of calls. It wasn't until one guy who was on Mark Z's team stopped me in my tracks. And the conversation went something like this. Hey, Mr. Marsupian, are you the owner of 53789 Edgewood Drive? Yes, I am. I noticed that it's for sale by owner. And even though there weren't a lot of pictures online, it looks like a really gorgeous house. And I really don't think you have a problem selling it. It looks like you've priced it right, in my opinion. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. So the reason I'm calling you is not to try to get your listing. I think you'd be successful in selling it yourself. My question to you, though, is where are you going after you sell that home? Because as you know, on the listing side, you are paying commissions to both a buyer's agent and a listing agent. So when you buy a house, it doesn't cost you anything to have representation. So I'm curious, have you interviewed agents to help you find your next house? Boom. Basically, he just told me, hey, do you have somebody to help you? I don't charge you a commission. Right? And again, that stopped me in my tracks. And it opened the door. I mean, not that I was a real client, but if I was a seller, that is a flip in the script right there. That is different than anyone else who's going to call you and tell you why they're going to sell your house, why you can't do it yourself. He's giving me confidence. He's telling me I could. But if I couldn't, guess what? He's probably going to be someone that I invite into my house, right? And we're going to see that. I know it's a tight market right now and it's seller's market, but it's not going to last like that forever. We will see more, we will see more FSBOs. So that script really resonated with me. And I think if you're gonna call FSBOs, if you're gonna work on this, you need to be different. Number two, expireds. What are expireds or unconditionally withdrawns?
Homes that were listed with an agent that came off the market, or that if it's a withdrawn one that they chose to take off themselves. But can I add one thing to the for sale by owner conversation before we move on?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so one thing that you said that, or two things you said that really stuck out that I found in my own experience calling for sale by owners make a huge difference is one, giving them that confidence, being very non-combative and telling them, yeah, you can absolutely sell it on your own. I don't disagree with you, especially in this market, you can get it sold. But, then you take the conversation towards, do you want to get it sold on your own, or do you want to get the most amount of money when you sell this home? And, of course, they want to get the most amount of money. That's why one of the big reasons why they're selling on their own. So that makes a huge difference because, you're not telling them they can't do it. You're on the same team as them, essentially, and you're trying to help them reach their goal by helping them get more money. And the other thing is what you're saying about the guy on Mark Z's team who flipped the script around and was talking about buying the next home. So the second question in the for sale by owner script that I use is, when you do sell this home, where are you going next? And I like to add a little bit on to that because, a lot of times, the first question is, when they plan to interview agents if they're not able to sell it on their own. But one thing I add on is I say, all right, great, you're selling it on your own right now. Fantastic. So, let me ask you this. We've got, I'll throw out the number of active listings we have in our office. Like, I don't know, I got to check what it is right now, but, we got, over 100 active listings in our office. Maybe one of them is right for you. So when you do sell this home, where are you planning to go next?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about questions, Carson, getting the conversation going. And, you know, I want to move on because we are tight on time, but, you know, just asking the question, hey, Mr. Seller, is it okay if I check in with you in a week? And if you haven't gotten the home under contract, you know, maybe we further our conversation. Yeah. Okay, great. And you have a little spreadsheet and you keep track. And like you said, in a week you call them. And if they say, yeah, we got an offer, that's awesome. Congratulations. You know, tell me about it. Right. Or no, we haven't. Okay, great. Is it, you know, are you open to interviewing agents at this time? Are you going to give it some more time? How much more time? You know, so developing a relationship. Expireds. Yeah. Expireds are properties that have left the market. Either their listing agreement has expired, right? That has a start time and an end time, or they've decided to take the home off the market as a withdrawn. But ultimately they've tried selling and they ultimately haven't for some reason. Why do houses leave the market unsold? It's not a trick question.
They're not priced right.
Okay. So they haven't received an offer that they were willing to accept. Okay. Why else?
Maybe the
circumstances changed for the people living there.
Circumstances may have changed. They decided not to sell, or they decided not to sell right now. Yeah, absolutely, Sarah. What else?
the photographs or the marketing might be poor quality and not make the home show up well, when it's posted to the MLS.
Yeah, maybe they're not getting any activity on it, therefore no offers, right? Why else? Could it have gone under contract? However, the buyers discovered some things that the sellers weren't willing to fix, or the buyers didn't want to take on, right?
The terms weren't met.
Yeah. Sometimes they discovered something that's a big septic field, needs to be replaced. Buyers don't want to take it. Sellers can't do it. Sellers got to stay in the home, right? So there's inspection items that potentially need to come up that the sellers need to fix, or really they need to regroup because they can't sell. These people, though, are people that have raised their hands and have said, I want to sell, right? They've listed the home, they've marketed the home, they've showed the home, right? And, the reason is to be discovered, right? But many of these people have a real sour taste in their mouth for some sort of reason, right? They lump in all real estate agents, right? They might need a cooling off period. There's a lot of agents that call expireds, and they typically are calling expireds the day after they expire, right? It's not uncommon for a seller the day after. And I even warn my sellers of this. If we're expiring a listing, even if we've mutually had a great relationship, but we're just I'm gonna tell them, you're gonna get inundated with calls, trying to sell your home, saying that they could do this, saying they can do that. But I forewarn them. I think that there's plenty of opportunities in expireds. However, in this market, if a house isn't selling, there's probably something wrong, right? I would argue, right? It's condition, it's marketing, right? But even the marketing, I mean, there's houses on there that have one photo on them, they're getting multiple offers because inventory is so low. It's not always going to stay like that, though. I'm still a big proponent of professional photos on all my listings. That doesn't help them sell right now. Maybe it does for a little bit more quicker, but I established that as my brand. And I would do that to get the next listing, right? To show people this is what I do. I think there's plenty of opportunity in expireds going back a couple of years. Listen, if anyone listed their house this time last year, the world was about to end. We didn't know what the hell was happening, right? There's lots of people. I personally took a listing this year that they tried to sell last year by owner unsuccessfully. No offers, handful of showings. I sold it this year for more money, right? The market's different right now. The market's different than it was in December, even January of this year. So when you're looking at expireds, you can filter by dates. You can go back a year, 2 years, 3 years, right? Double check, cross-reference to see if it had been relisted, right, and sold before you waste your time working on something. But if someone's, unless things have drastically changed, they probably still have a bit of them that wants to sell, right? Perhaps you just need to come up with a different presentation. And I know that Carson asked this because we've role played together. Ask the seller, hey, why do you think it didn't sell? Now,
Yeah.
the answer to that question is probably irrelevant because the seller in their mind has a reason it didn't sell, but it's never them, right? Sometimes it is. Sometimes they've come to grips with the fact that they priced it too high. Oftentimes it's because their agent didn't do this or they didn't do that or that, you know what I mean? So then you're listening, you're taking mental notes, and then you're tailoring your listing presentation around that. They didn't do open houses. You and I know open houses aren't what sells houses, but okay, oh, great. Well, that's part of my marketing plan. I'm going to do an open house, right? So
Yeah.
there's agents out there that have a huge business from expireds. And oftentimes it's not because they're much better at selling houses. It's because they're swooping in when the first agent wasn't able to communicate what needed to be done to get it sold.
Every once in a while. It's like a 10-second.
There's a line, I don't know who said it. It was Denny Grimes said it. It's like houses, why there's only two reasons houses don't sell. Either the agent isn't talking or the seller isn't listening. And that basically means the listing agent isn't communicating to the sellers what needs to be done, or they are and the seller's just not listening. Right? Don't be that first agent. Don't be the one that's not telling the seller what needs to be done to sell the house. Right? Or sometimes they need to hear it from someone else. So those are expireds. Again, going back, I would just use history, especially if you're farming a neighborhood or whatever. Hey, I noticed you had tried to sell a couple years ago. I don't know if your circumstances changed or not, but it's a drastically different market right now than it was then. Would you like to sit down and talk about that in more detail? Number 3, open houses. This is a weird one, especially for you guys that are newer to real estate. Who's held an open house? Doug has.
I have.
Carson has. If I had to kind of poll, John has. If I had to poll all the agents that are in this office, I bet you 50% or more never have hosted an open house because they got into real estate in the past year and a half, and it's been weird. And then I hear this all the time. Whoa. I hear this all the time. Why can't, we can't, there's no houses. I can't host an open house, right? Or houses are selling the first weekend. We don't need open houses. I can't do open houses, right? I can't do open houses as a lead generation tactic. Guys, it's not about the actual open house, right? What is it about? Why would you as an agent select an open house for an upcoming weekend and potentially host it? Can anyone tell me? Again,
To find buyers.
Expand on that. Go a little bit deeper.
You could
don't have agents.
No. Well, yes, I guess. It's to use the opportunity for lead generation that week. What do I mean by that? I mean, on a Monday, choosing an open house that you're going to host on Saturday. So all week you can do what?
Talk about it, go to the neighborhood.
Promote it. Yeah, you can. Exactly. You can create an ad. You can create a Facebook ad. You can create a post. You can circle prospect, right? Either in person, right? Door knocking, or over the phone, or both, right? The whole lead generation during that week leading up to that open house, the open house is just a culmination of it. And you can have plenty of opportunities to make contacts and not have a single person show up for the open house. Okay. It's not just about someone walking in the front door of that open house who says, yeah, I don't have an agent. I would like to buy this house. It's about making contacts leading up to it. Why is that on this list, guys? I'm not talking about buyers, right? This is about listings. What are the lead generation tactics that are going to make you contacts that could potentially get you listings around an open house?
You ask the people who come in, if they've already sold their house, or are they, still looking to list, or if it's a neighbor, ask them, well, have you thought about moving at all?
Yeah. Carson, what if no one comes into your open house?
You can still generate leads online with it, by posting it to your Facebook, interacting with the people who comment on it, sending the ad for, you can even, send it directly to your sphere of influence or past clients and talk to them about it that way.
Yep. You're using that that listing as an opportunity to have conversations. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more when we do circle prospecting next. But I think the biggest opportunity, even if you don't have an open house right now, there is no shortage of incredible stories that you should be talking to people about. What do I mean by that? Number one is buyer demand. Buyer demand is huge. You all have a buyer right now that's looking for a house that you haven't been able to find or doesn't have, I do. I have a handful of them. If you don't, ask someone else. And I'm not saying going out to help their buyer buy a house. I'm telling you to use that as leverage to go out and find a listing opportunity. What do I mean by that? Sarah, you could go out if you were interested in an area. Matt, oh, I see on this list of buyer needs, you've got a buyer that's looking for a house on an acre, a ranch that's 2,000 square foot, right? Or maybe not an acre. Maybe that's a bad example because you don't want to be door knocking like miles and miles. But let's say, oh, Novi under 500, right? You've identified a neighborhood that houses are around that price range, and you literally go door knock, or you call, or both, right? And say, hey, Mr. Seller, my name's Sarah. I'm with Keller Williams. I know that I'm stopping by unannounced, but are you aware of what's going on in the real estate market right now? There is a huge demand that outpaces supply. Specifically, there's a lot of people that want to be in a neighborhood like this, right? I don't know if you'd ever consider selling, but have you thought about it? If the price was right, if I brought you a ready, willing, and able buyer? No, I wouldn't consider selling. Oh, no worries. How long have you lived in this house? Can I ask? We've been here for 15 years. Oh, awesome. Right. It's a beautiful home. You maintain it really well. How much longer do you think you'd be in this house? I don't know. I'm going to die in this house. Oh, okay. You must love it. That must be why so many people want to be here. Hey, let me ask you, since you don't want to sell, you said you're going to die in this house. I don't suppose you know somebody, a neighbor perhaps that might be interested in selling. Or if you could point me to the neighbor that knows everyone on the block, because everyone knows that person, right? What I'm trying to do is find an opportunity, right, rather than just sit around and wait for a house to pop on the market for a buyer that we have. We're getting on the ground, we're boots to the ground, trying to find an opportunity, an off-market opportunity. And it could really be a win-win because that seller could get top dollar, but also not have the inconvenience of opening their house to 50 showings and such, right? And you're just having that conversation by leading with a buyer opportunity. And it doesn't even have to be your buyer. Make sense? So
I'll hold an open house this Saturday. If anyone wants to come to shadow or even hold it.
Where's that property at, Lisa?
Gateway, the one in Plymouth.
Okay. It's a condo.
Condo in Plymouth.
Should have good exposure. You can put some signs right out there.
Say it again.
Yeah, it should have some good exposure. It's right by the road. You have some signs out there, and yeah. So don't just, when you host an open house, don't just post it online and promote it, right? And then also the conversation, if it is your listing, I don't suppose, or not even your listing, I guess. I don't suppose you know anyone that wants to be in this neighborhood. There's so many conversations that you can have with sellers that I know personally people just don't do. If you are lacking leads, lacking opportunities to talk to, you should be doing this. And I know that people don't do it because, number one, no one ever does it to me. I live in a neighborhood that's really desirable. I've never had somebody, I've had some mailers, but I've never had someone knock on my door. Right. And I think we're past the point right now where some people still be a little nervous, but we're past the point of like mass hysteria where I think you could, especially since the weather's nice, you could door knock, right? Or call, right? How can you call? Well, you can use RedX, the geo leads. You can draw a circle and it'll give you the names and numbers of neighbors or whatever, depending on where you want to focus on around a home or a neighborhood, right? And that's just, a numbers game as well. But you know what? I don't like cold calling. I'll be honest. I don't know many people that love it, but I will feel more comfortable calling to tell a seller that their values are up and they could they're sitting on a gold mine. That's an easier conversation for me to have than just out of the blue. You thinking about selling? You know? And that's why what I said earlier, the stories to tell, use my stories, use Sharon's stories, use anyone else's in this office's story. Hey, Mr. Seller, you live in Coventry Gardens in Livonia. Are you aware of what's going on in real estate? An agent from our office just listed a property down the street from you. I don't know if you saw the sign or not, or the traffic this weekend, but they priced it at 220. They had 35 showings. They ended up with 10 offers, and they got considerably over asking price with really favorable terms. Have you thought about cashing in your golden ticket? Just asking. I mean, right? It's not a weird question to ask because you have a value proposition for them. So the just sold, right? I'm on number 4, 5, and 6. New listings. Hey, we just listed this property. We're having an unbelievable amount of activity on it. I suspect it'll be gone by Sunday. I don't suppose you know anyone that's looking to be in this neighborhood. Also, would you consider selling? If we can only accept one offer, that means we'll have multiple people that we're going to leave disappointed. We'd love the opportunity to talk to you. Right? And then the buyer need. Every single one of you that has a buyer that is looking for something should be doing this, should be circle prospecting for your buyers for 2 reasons. One, you're going to uncover people that want to sell and make contacts. And that's what it's all about, guys. It's not just about the right time, the right place. In fact, we were going to list this weekend. We'd like to interview you tomorrow. No, it's not always going to work like that. It is going to allow you to get a contact and put someone in your database to be there when they do decide to pull the trigger, right?
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, so I've been trying to do these mailers and stuff for the circle prospecting, specifically for buyer's need, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't know if my flyer is the right flyer or my postcard is the right postcard. I mean, do we have something like what really works, or, you know, because like I talked to somebody from Sterling Heights, and he said that, you know, he does his business cards acting like the actual buyer, and then on the back it says, hey, if you're interested in selling me your home, contact my realtor Doug, you know. And he says that's been really successful. I think that's the part I'm kind of looking for, is what's really working, because I've been sending stuff out and it just doesn't seem to work.
Yeah,
Hey,
no,
Doug, are you looking for a specific buyer, or are you just fishing for leads?
I'll take either or, but I actually have specific buyers. I got a couple buyers that we keep losing out, and I'm trying to find them a deal.
Okay. Are you including your buyers' names, for example? Are you sending, you know, if you're doing a mailing or calling, hey, you know, hi, I'm calling because I have buyers, you know, Sue and Tom, they're looking to buy in this neighborhood. Are, you know, have you thought of selling your home, or, you know, thinking of selling their home? So if you specifically say their names and say they look neighborhood, more, I think it's more impactful than just saying, you know, thought of buying or selling your home.
yeah, John, you're breaking
And
up.
then, you know,
Hey, John.
yeah, sorry,
No, it's okay. You're
Yes,
breaking
sir.
up a little bit, but no, you're absolutely right. Do you see, the thing is, you don't want to say necessarily, I'm looking for 4 bedrooms or more. I'm looking for 1,800 square foot. You want to keep it general, right? I don't know, without seeing your stuff. I could definitely give you some tidbits. I would suggest maybe you share that with the group on the Facebook page and maybe ask for people's thoughts. Is the call to action strong? Is it just getting tossed? Maybe a postcard's not right. Maybe it needs to be a letter that they open up. Maybe you need to include a copy of the buyer's redacted pre-approval letter to really show this is a buyer, and they're pre-approved up to this amount, right? You know, are you just mailing? Are you also calling and door knocking, right? I find with a lot of lead generation techniques, it has to be multifaceted. And it's also just a numbers game, right? I mean, it really is. So I think the persistence will be important in doing that. And also to convey to your buyers what you're doing. I don't want people losing buyers right now because their buyers just think that you were just sitting around waiting for houses to pop up. When you do activities like this, communicate to your buyers what you're doing, right? Does anyone have any else thoughts on that? The circle prospecting?
So the only thing I was concerned about with what John was just saying with the names, my particular clients are of a certain descent that I don't want. I'm worried about people, looking at it from a race standpoint.
No, I totally understand, and I wouldn't want to put anything out
Because
there.
it's obvious what their names are.
Sure.
It's obvious that,
And maybe you don't have to have their actual pre-approval. Maybe it's just these are pre-approved.
details.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I have pre-approved buyers who are putting 20% down who, with a pre-approved, meaning that the lenders, whatever information you want to need, because let's be honest, most sellers, they don't know what that means. So tell me what that means, because it's equivalent to a cash offer, right? Because they've been vetted or whatever. One thing that I wanted to share, and I don't know if you can see this or not, I received this image someone created. It's an agent at another KW. If you can see this, they sent it to me via text, and it's just an image with her picture and her contact information at the bottom. But it's got six blocks, and its top says, "Do you have a home that meets any of my buyer's criteria? All Sports Lakefront first floor master up to 450. Village of Clarkston fixer upper up to 5. Clarkston vacant land up to 75,000." Like, it's got 6 buyer needs on here for her specifically. And she sent this out to other agents. There's nothing stopping you from having the same kind of thing and posting it and sending it to people that are in your sphere and your database. This is another touch, right? Everybody says, I've run out of reasons to call my database. What about calling your database or sending them this and then following up with a call and say, hey, did you happen to see the little thing I sent you? I'm really trying to uncover all the stones that I can. I have a buyer that's looking for XYZ. I know you live in that area, or I know that you know people that live in the area. Do you know anyone? Right? Inventory is really tight right now, meaning that there's not a lot of houses on the market. In fact, you could probably sell your house for top dollar. Have you thought about that? Ha ha ha, right? It's an opportunity to make a contact with someone in your database, right? Without asking them or leading with, do you want to sell? Does that make sense?
Yep.
So ultimately the goal is to what? The goal is to get an opportunity out of it, but the way of doing it is making a contact about something that you need. And what does that also show them? It shows the people in your database that you are working hard for your clients. That's the type of reason that they want to hire you, because you're going to do the same for them. Make sense? So you can do this. You can do this via an ad too. Instead of, maybe you don't want a postcard. Maybe you just want to target an area, right? You can do it via command. You can do this via command, just your database. If you don't want to do it, if you just want to hit your database, you can do that. You can run an ad in command and via Facebook or social, Instagram, just your database. You don't have to spend a ton of money to do this. But it's a touch, and it shows them that you're doing real estate, reemphasizes that mind share. Number 7, blind CMAs. We had a contest in April, about end of March, and then through April for this. Over 175 of them were sent. I know that some of you participated and some of you didn't, but I think that it goes without saying that this could work, being that Tammy got 3 listing opportunities out of it. I mean, potentially $18,000 in gross commission income by just picking addresses, sending CMAs. Pretty simple. Does anybody have any limiting beliefs around this, or thoughts around it?
I have a question about it. So let's say you send it and it's a few days later or a week or so later, and you're doing a follow-up call with them. What do you typically say on that follow-up call? Because I did, there was one that I sent to a friend of mine, and he's actually referred me 2 buyers this year. They're still looking, but I figured he'd be a good guy to send it to. And when I called him up to talk about it, I didn't really know what to say, and kind of his response was, well, I know a lot of people who are looking to buy homes. I don't know anyone who's looking to sell. And I was trying to just take the conversation of, well, if you or someone in your neighborhood, you hear them talking about it, send that over to them and get them in touch with me. Or if you know someone in another neighborhood, send it to them as an example, and then and tell them that I can do one for their home.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, Carson. I wouldn't say that line. I'd say, I appreciate you giving a look. Was there any takeaways from reviewing that? No, there wasn't. Oh, okay. Well, I was actually surprised. I don't know if you noticed, but in your neighborhood, things are up 10%, which is pretty amazing.
Mhm.
But you told me, Mr. Friend, that you're not interested in selling. It's probably good to know, though. That gives you good peace of mind. So if you're not looking at selling, let me ask you this: Are you looking to do any capital improvement projects on your property that I could help put you in touch with a contractor? No, we're not really doing anything. Okay, no worries. Hey, just so you know, my office has a couple of preferred partners that we work with in the financing as well as the insurance realm. A lot of people who determine that they're going to stay put in their home have done refinancing, lower their payment, or to accelerate their payoff by going into like a 15-year. Is that something that you considered that I could put you in touch with? No. Okay. No worries. Cool. Lastly, the insurance. We work with a mortgage or an insurance brokerage. They're able to shop a lot of different companies. Perhaps it might make sense for you to do it. Again, no obligation. I don't get anything from it. I just want to help you in any way that I can. Right? And then lastly, I know because the real estate market's up in your area, specifically your neighborhood, I know that there's probably people that are looking to sell. If you could keep me in mind, I'd love the opportunity to talk to any of your neighbors. Can you think of anyone right now who I should definitely reach out to? No, I don't. Okay, no worries. Thank you for thinking of that. Can you do me a favor though? Yes. In the future, if there is, will you put me in touch with them or make a warm introduction via text? I'd really appreciate that. Thanks. And if I did any blind CMAs, and this is part of Tammy's success, it wasn't just CMAs to people in her database. She realized if I do one for a condo specifically, if I do one for a condo, these all are the same comps. Why don't I just print a bunch more and send them to all of their neighbors? Right? So unless it's a really unique home or, why wouldn't you just do a blanket CMA for the whole neighborhood and just change it up a little bit? And then in the letter, again, just change it up one time and you can print out a bunch. Say, I know, or I'm friends with your neighbor, right? And I was doing this for them. And I realized that I should share this information with all of the neighbors in the neighborhood. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm not just a realtor off the street. I know one of your neighbors. And you don't have to say how well you know. You don't have to say who they are. You just say, I know one of your neighbors. I'm friends with one of your neighbors. I put this together for them. They were amazed at how much values had gone up. And I thought it would be beneficial to share it with all of their neighbors. Right? So the blind CMAs, that's just sending a CMA, right? Maybe with a range. Hey, an intro letter. I don't know. Ask Tammy what she did. It obviously worked for her. And, do it and then follow up to the best of your ability. If you do it to a neighborhood, door knock after. Hey, I don't suppose you got this in the mail. I'm the one who sent it. Did you get a chance to review it or did you just toss it? Ha ha ha. The reason I sent that though is because I know someone in this neighborhood and they were pretty amazed to hear how much their house is worth. Did you see this house down the street? This had multiple offers. It actually went for 20 grand over asking. That directly affects the value of your home. Have you considered selling? Right? Whatever the case may be, just figure out your script and then go do it. All of this stuff is simple. It really is. It's just a matter of executing it.
Can I ask a question? I think Sharon shared her just hers that we could use as a draft, and I believe Tammy she would too. But in terms of just resources for I think I wasn't feeling confident on actually doing a CMA. So is that the classes in Real Comp or are there things on the Keller Williams? I feel like I get overwhelmed with resources, which is a good problem. But
sure. Yeah, no, there's a good video in the YouTube channel that Stephanie and Janiga did in putting together a CMA. It's in not the coaching one, it's in the KW Advantage group. Okay. I'm more than happy if you guys ever wanted to use my address, do a CMA on your own, and then send it to me, I'm happy to review it and kind of give you my feedback on it, right? If you want to use me as a trial run, absolutely cool with that. And also, Sarah, while you do these, you will become more confident. Like, so don't worry about stressing over one that has to be perfect, right? In fact, when I do a CMA and the seller's like punches holes in it, it's opportunity for conversation. So they might say, well, that house isn't like mine. That house is different. That house is this. Oh, so you really know what's going on. Let's talk about it, right? And if I have to go back to the drawing board and revise, I'm happy to do so because I have the access to all the information, right?
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
I think we've done this once before when I first started, because this is a type of exercise that usually helps me learn, but would it be advantageous to like maybe pick an address and then have everybody in the group do a CMA on that particular address again and kind of see, like, compare the following week to see what people thought, and
For sure.
get different ideas of why somebody chose a particular price point or.
Yeah, absolutely. Do it right now. Get a pen out. I'll give you an address.
All right.
53789 Edgewood Drive, South Lyon, Michigan, 48178. It is 4 bedrooms, 2 full, 2 half baths, 2-car garage, finished basement, single family detached home. 2,100 square feet. That's about all you need to know. The rest you can put together and find.
Matt, you
And-
said 2 full and 2 half baths?
2
Yep.
full. Yep, 2 half.
2.2 or
2.2.
Oh, yeah.
2.2.
So, yeah, do a CMA. I don't expect any of you to be an expert in South Lyon or Lyon Township or anything, but as you can imagine, I know I'm pretty in tune with my value. I'd be curious what you guys put together, and I would be happy to go through those, critique them, give you my thoughts. Absolutely. And then I think also it'd be probably beneficial for us to do one live together to go through the rigmarole. I mean, I've done it multiple times, but you can never do this kind of stuff enough. And that's why I will tell you again, these blind CMAs, like, it's practice. It's just like going on a bunch of appointments, right? If I go on an appointment, I don't get it. It was practice, and I'll learn from that. I'll learn for the next time.
So is this due for Thursday or Monday?
Let's, can you get it done by Monday? It's Thursday.
You tell me to be done by Monday. It's done by Monday. Done.
All right, Monday. Why waste any time? You don't need a week to do a CMA. And that's, listen, only if you want to participate in this, guys. If you're busy, you got stuff going on, this is not high priority. But if you want the exercise in doing it, by all means. Email it to me. I'm happy to look them over. Give me your thoughts. Treat me like you would be doing a blind CMA. Send me an email, say, hey, blah, 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 I did this, use this as practice. This is a rough draft for those of you who haven't done it. And if you have done it, this is just practice. All right, a few more. After the blind CMA's database calls, we talked about this a little bit earlier, actually. It kind of goes hand in hand with the same script as circle prospecting, but the database call is what? It's contacting someone who's in your database with a story, right? It could be a variety of story. It could be, hey, I know you live in Royal Oak. A guy on my team just sold a house in Royal Oak for $52,000 over asking. He was blown away by the amount of activity. I know you live not far. Are you aware of what's going on? Would you consider selling? We need inventory, right? Sound desperate. I don't know. Make it a joke. Make it funny. Find out what their thoughts are. If you're not doing it, guess what? Someone else is. The buyer needs database call. Hey, Sarah, I know that you live in Canton. I don't think I've ever been to your house, actually, but I know you live in Canton. I know we're just role playing. I know you don't live in Canton. I know you live in Canton, but listen, I was referred to a client by a friend. I have a client they're looking for a house in Canton. They're really looking for 4 bedrooms. I think they would take 3. But we've just been there's the houses that go up on the market go so quickly. It's just been really competitive. But they're well qualified buyers. They've got 5% down, conventional mortgage. They're renting right now, so they're super flexible in terms of occupancy. But I'm really doing everything that I can to help find them a home. They're a great family. They've got 2 young kids and a really cute little dog. I don't suppose that you know anyone who might be looking to sell. You see how broad that was? It wasn't like, do you know anyone in this street and this neighborhood? It has to be 3,000 square foot. No, I'm just using it as a touch. In fact, and I don't expect most people to be able to say, in fact, I do know someone with exactly that. No, it's just about making that contact, right? And planting that seed and then saying, hey, will you do me a favor? Will you keep that in mind? I know this is a long shot, but I want to make sure that I am leaving no stone unturned. Yeah, I'd do that for you, Matt. Okay, great. Awesome. Hey, by the way, how is everything at home with you guys? How's your this, right? It's another touch. And then follow it up with an email. Hey, thanks again for taking my call, or a text. Like I said, I'm looking for someone in Canton specifically with this, and then be a little bit more specific, beds, baths, whatever. Please keep me in mind. If you send me, if put me in touch with somebody, I'll send you a nice little gift, or I'll be forever grateful, or whatever you might want to do. But again, it's a reason for a touch. Do you need a buyer? No. Use my buyers. Use Andrea's buyers. Use Doug's buyers. Use any buyer that anyone has in this office to go out and try to find. They already have a buyer's agent, but that's not the point. You're just looking for homes. It's a touch to your database, and you're trying to find a listing. Because guess what? If someone in your database puts you in touch with someone who is going to list, you could represent them, and then Andrea or Doug, whoever has a buyer, could represent the buyer. It'd be a great situation. Win-win. Or perhaps that buyer doesn't like that house. Still get you in the door in a potential listing opportunity. Happened to Phil Ledoux. Phil knocked on a door that his clients lost out an opportunity in the neighborhood, showed the house to his buyers. It wasn't a fit for them, but got that listing. It can be done, guys. You just have to go out and do it. And then we kind of already talked about number 9, using generic home criteria, list, social, email. I'm looking for this city, right? Perhaps you have multiple buyers and you can create an email or social post. This is buyer 1, buyer 2, buyer 3. This is what they're looking for. Who do you know? Post that out. Post, email, text, image, make a little cute little thing in command, text it as an image, whatever the case may be. Okay, so those are my 9 opportunities that you should be able to look for opportunities for the listings for sellers. In order for this all to come together, right? It's not just enough to prospect for it. You guys all need confidence in order to go out there. What's next? I hear this all the time. Someone said yes. I'm going to their house on Friday. What do I do? Right? This is why one of the 5 things that real estate agents should be doing each day. If you don't have a presentation or a listing appointment today, allocate a half an hour to working on your listing presentation, or role playing with yourself or someone else what you would say in a listing presentation. And don't overthink this, guys. We've shared with you some examples. There's some in command. Literally download the template, take out their name, or take out the whatever, put your name in there. It's just something. Something will give you confidence, especially if it's got the step-by-steps. Go to my website. Take whatever I have. I don't care. Right? And I talk about the steps for it because that just keeps me on track to talk about a listing presentation. Because when people say, oh, my marketing plan, it's really just telling them what you're going to do. But if it's in front of you, you won't skip things and you'll stay on task and you'll be able to continue moving the conversation forward. Completing a CMA, get confident in doing that. How do you get confident in doing it? By practicing. Understanding the process, the checklist. We have this in the coaching drive. Include this step-by-step checklist in your buyer or your listing presentation. What's going to happen when? It doesn't have to be paragraphs. It's just, boop, sign listing agreement, input listing, schedule photos. You're just putting that stuff together so you'll be able to communicate that with Mr. Seller. Understand, mastering the listing docs. Going to Pete's Forms. That's all it is. Understanding all the documents, what gets filled in, why, and being able to explain that to your clients.
Did you restart it?
Oh, yeah.
Doug,
It seems
Yeah.
put yourself on mute for me.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sorry.
Mastering the listing documents is imperative because, you know, some people, a listing presentation is just going over the listing docs. That's cool too. But if you don't know them or you're not comfortable with them, you're not going to want to go over them because you're going to be scared of them. Right? I occasionally swoop into Pete's Farms. I know who goes there. I know who doesn't. Right? If you guys come to Sharon or myself or someone else and you say, hey, I filled out all these documents. Can you take a review of them? I'm going to say, absolutely, shoot them over. But if you go, I got this appointment, I don't know what to do. Bullshit. You know what to do, right? I'm sorry, but you should be planning each and every day as if, because that opportunity is going to come, right? When you're least expecting it. You have time to allocate each day to make sure you're on top of it. Does it mean you're not going to be nervous? Absolutely not. Everyone is. I still get nervous when I go on listing appointments. But do the things each day. Allocate a little bit of time to make sure that you're that much more confident. So when the opportunity does come, because guess what? It'll come like out of the blue. It'll seemingly out of the blue. It's never out of the blue because it's from activities you are doing, but it seems like that. Make sense, guys? Is there something that you took away from today where you could go out and find a listing or search for a listing or have a reason to contact someone?
Absolutely.
Cool. Last question I have. Is anyone open to the idea of door knocking with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, I realize that it's one of those things where it's like jumping in the pool, right? You need help doing it the first time. It's never going to get easy, but it will get easier. And there's nothing stopping us from going to a neighborhood, breaking up into pairs of twos and just going out and hitting the pavement. And, you know, if someone tells us to screw off, whatever, but it's going to get you confident. It's going to get you, you know, talk about the scripts and overcome objections and just do it. Right. So if you're open to it, I'm open to it. Yeah, Andrea, you're in. Okay, cool.
Be a Jehovah Witness for real estate for a day. I'm down.
I'm not looking to save anybody. I'm just looking to make them a bunch of money.
Right.
Okay, cool. Anyone else have any questions, comments, parting thoughts?
I have like combination parting thoughts questions.
Mhm.
So yesterday I went on to a listing appointment yesterday.
Great.
And it was an elder woman that wants to sell her home. She wasn't able to sign any paperwork because she's been directed by her children not to when they're not present, which I had no problem with. So I talked to the daughter because she gave me the daughter's number, and the daughter called me and I talked to the daughter. The daughter is looking to get back with me on whether or not they want to go forward because she has to talk with, you know, family and they have to make a decision. So she said in about a week she'll follow up. My question though is I went into the basement and there was an odor in the basement and they have a sub pump in the basement, which I thought was really weird because the house is in Detroit and I didn't think homes in Detroit had sub pumps. But anyway, I looked for that pipe that Pete tells us to look for if there's a sub pump in the house because it comes out at the side of the wall. And sure enough, right on the side of the cinder block wall in the basement, right underneath the window, is this huge pipe that goes across two walls. So they definitely have a sub pump. So with the odor in the basement, does that mean that there's possibly something going on with the sub pump that they may need to check out? Or is that like par for the course for a sub pump?
No, odor does not equate to issue with sump pump. Now, if there's standing water or a flooding or something like that, there's probably an issue with it. It could be water standing a sump pump, whether it's sealed or not sealed, the water does flow through. It might be stagnant, but it shouldn't smell. What's typically the reason for a bad smell, like a sewer smell or gas smell?
It had a sewer smell.
Yeah, it's usually because of dry traps, right? So depending on the plumbing system, there's water. Water prevents sewer gases from coming up through the pipes. So, like for instance, when I sold new construction, our models would sit, tubs wouldn't get used, sinks wouldn't get used, most toilets wouldn't get used. We would have to flush the toilets, and we'd have to put water down the drains every so often, specifically the tubs, because that water that's in the trap would dry out. It would evaporate and then allow the sewer gases to come out. So I'm not sure if that's the case with the basement there, but there could be floor drains, a laundry tub, somewhere else where sewer scents coming through, because the sewers and the sump pump are not connected. Water coming through into the sump from the drain tile should be directed out to the storm drains, not the sewer lines. So they should be completely different. If it is something that the seller does not know of that you think is going to impact the sale, I would have them, maybe inspector, take a look at it, or a plumber out to take a look at it. But it doesn't sound like the issue of the smell is related to the sump pump.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, because when I had the smell, I wasn't exactly sure what to ask or even what to be aware of in terms of the sub pump, because I'm so unfamiliar. So
Yeah.
now I know when I go to the potential seller to let her know, hey, you may want to have your sub pump inspected, and you may want to have the traps inspected to make sure the water is flowing, because there is an odor in the basement, and we don't want that odor there should you decide to sell the house.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. And you tread lightly, because you don't want to tell someone their house stinks.
Right, this is true. This is true. Okay, I'll phrase it another way. Okay, thank you, Matt.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have any thoughts parting?
Nope.
I got one.
Yeah, Carson.
So just one last thing on, we had kind of like the miscellaneous lead generation ideas. One that I started doing a few months back. I haven't got any leads from it, but I've actually handed out a few referrals this way, is whenever you're role playing with agents from another market, or you're on like a mastermind call, or a skill building call, just at the end of the call, just say your market center and ask if anyone knows someone who's looking to move here, or looking to sell. And then obviously if you've got a referral for another area, ask if you don't already have an agent there. Say, hey, I got someone who's looking to move to Hampton Roads, Virginia. Yeah, is anyone in that market center?
Yeah. I have always consistently a couple deals each year from referrals, from agent referrals. In fact, I just had a closing in West Michigan. I referred, I think I told you, some of you this. My sister-in-law just moved from Phoenix, or didn't just. My sister-in-law moved from Phoenix to Michigan. She's like, hey, Matt, I have some friends back from Phoenix. They're looking to move to West Michigan. I've never met these people. But she said they need a realtor. Okay, great. I go in the system. I vet some agents. I get their information. I refer them to an agent in West Michigan. They just recently closed, and I just got about $1,600 referral fee. Never even met them, right? But it goes both ways. I've also gotten a referral from an agent in Texas saying, hey, I have some clients. They want to move here to Texas. They currently live in Michigan. Great. That's a listing opportunity for me. I got that referral and helped them sell their house. So developing relationship with agents outside of our market center is absolutely huge. And you can use those migration maps to help you in the referrals. And I'm happy to show anyone those. But we're a little over time. That's okay. I hope this was beneficial to you guys. I'm going to continue hammering this stuff. There's no shortage of reasons to talk to people about what's going on in the market, right? Between your sphere of influence, strangers, circle prospecting, there's lots of stories. I only tell you guys my stories because I want you to use them. It's not to brag. I want you to be able to say, so-and-so in my office, this person, this person, this person. Use other people's success stories as if they were your own. This is a team. We are like a team. If Michael Perna sold a house, Austin's going to talk about that story because they're working a team. I want to be the same thing within us. Okay. And if there's a home, pull the reports, look at you can all of the information is at your fingertips, right? Perhaps you live in an area or a neighborhood where no one from this office has sold something. Guess what? There's another agent that has, and you can call someone. You can do a circle prospect. Hey, did you know there was a listing in your neighborhood that this, and this? Doesn't have to be yours. Doesn't have to be with KW. You are just educating people about what's going on. They don't know, or they think they know. Okay, guys?
Mhm.
Have a phenomenal weekend. Next week, I think it's on Wednesday, right after Pete's Forums. I'm doing this class, What It Took to Win the Deal. Please attend that. It's going to be great. Talking about, the flip side, what it got to, what it took to get your buyer's offer accepted in a multiple offer situation. Peeling back the curtain, looking at the details of each offer, because it's not just about price.
Oh, hey, Matt, before we
Yeah.
go, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays from 9:30 in the morning till 10, I'm holding space for role play on Zoom. So I've had Marcia come through, and Marcia and I, we did the buyer's presentation together, which was really helpful for the both of us. So if anybody is interested in doing any role play, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 9:30 in the morning till 10, join us on Zoom. I'll post the information again on the KW coaching Facebook page.
Awesome.
So,
I love
it's-
that. I love it. I love role play. It's awkward. People hate it. It's the only way you get better, guys.
So Matt, if ever you have a moment, you got 30 minutes to spare on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, would love to have you, drop in because veteran agents help us out a lot.
I'll beat you up. Sure.
Yay.
All right.
Thank
Appreciate you
you.
guys. Take
Bye,
care.
guys.
Thank you, Matt. This was awesome. Thank you.
Good. Great.
Thanks.
Glad to hear it. Take care, guys.
Bye now.